real quick video to explain this business concept and what is really going on. Okay, so the whole thing is about demand. In Google, if you go to the keyword planner, you can find that there's hundreds and thousands of people every single month looking for a service, right? Looking for things that they need. So in here, I can put address change, for example. These are people who are looking to get a small service to change their address, right? A lot of them will do it through UPS, some people will do it through some other mechanism, etc. Another one I can do is LLC, open a business, and they're gonna have to do a filing, right? There's companies that's gonna open up their paperwork with the state to register them as a liable, as a proper business, right? There's hundreds and thousands of people making these searches every single month. So once we know this demand, what we can do is provide services to these people, right? As simple as that. So when somebody goes and types in EIN filing to start a business, right, or something like address change, they're going to move their homes, we can basically show up in front of them to provide a certain service. Okay, so we got that part down, right? So there's hundreds and thousands of people in the United States and all kinds of industries looking for services. We pick one or two or three of these, right? Couple. We don't have to have like many. We're just picking like a couple of these services that we can grow a brand around and then do advertising to give them what they're looking for. So an example, what we have already up and running from last month is address change, right? People who are moving states, and what we can do is do a little package where we do their mail forwarding along with give them some tips based on where they're going. You know, make sure, here's 10 things to always make sure when you're changing your address is like, you know, your state ID has to be updated, your health insurance, make sure, you know, the laws in the new state you're going, etc., etc. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's just what the point is that there's people looking for it. And if we can just give them what they're already looking for, right? We're not trying to sell people something that they're not looking for, right? It's not Facebook advertising. This is on Google search. So people are looking for them and we are showing up in front of them to give them the service. All right, cool. Next part. So how do we come up here? Now that is done from the team. We're gonna have a team who's gonna be doing the advertising and make sure that we're gonna be in the top across all cities and states in the United States. Right? We're going pretty broad with this compared to SEO, for example, where you can only go in one city. We're going for the whole nation, right? So every time people search for this in the nation, we want to be in the top positions. Okay. I can be this business, right? My business can be this, but for Google's terms and services, you cannot be the owner of all the businesses that show up for a service. Because in a way, what Google wants is variety. They want that when users search for something, right? When you look for ice cream, right? What Google wants is different businesses show up. Different companies show up. Same like here. They want different services to show up, different businesses to show up to, you know, basically have a say on their product, and then the customer can choose based on the variety. That's what makes a good search engine. Now, for us to get more market share and more visibility, we can't just be in the top here. We would like to be in the second, third, fourth, even down to in the bottom places where sometimes you can see ads in page 2 and stuff. We want to be in here as well. So to make that happen, we need several partners, right? It's not going to be structured in a way where you know, you're basically working for the business. You're actually owning a part of it, because you have to be a partner to be under having different entities. So how that's going to work is basically, this is me, so this is somebody else, and this is going to be somebody else. We're going to have a couple people where each can represent, and that way we can get more of the market share from the people when they're looking for these kind of services. All right. So that brings us to a point where we kind of know where the demand is coming from. You know, who are we serving? How are we coming up there with the advertising, and how are we structured is based on different partners that we're going to have who can allow us to show up for almost all the searches available on Google. So whether the customer chooses the first business or the second business or the third business, it doesn't matter. We're going to get that business. Okay. Number 3. So what is the last thing that's available? What needs to be done? What needs to be done is to get merchant accounts. Basically, a merchant account allows us to be open for business and collect payment from a consumer. A lot of times we forget that the underlying mechanisms in our day-to-day life is actually, it's not like completely, it's a kind of taken for granted, right? If I go on a website to buy a piece of clothing, I just press buy and it just swipes my card and it's done, right? On Amazon, you can one-click buy. You don't have to put your card number or anything. It's everything saved. You just boom. But all of these sites have merchant accounts. They have to have a relationship with the system that has a relationship with the bank that can take the money from the consumer's pocket and put it into yours, and in return you're giving them a service. That's how that works. So a popular merchant account is PayPal. Another one is Stripe. There's things like Venmo, Cash App. That's like a couple. We have a long list of merchant accounts, and what we found is that all merchant accounts do not accept all businesses, right? Like PayPal, you cannot do certain types of business with PayPal. Like high volume businesses with very low transaction, like it takes like just a couple of dollars, but it's a very high volume. Let's say like they're spread across the world. PayPal would see it too risky. Also, obviously, common high risky industries are like gambling, online video games, or something with poker, and then the list goes on. The point is, this is also something that we need a lot of merchant accounts in. It's not as, obviously, it's not looked as risky as like gambling or something, but it is in the industry where it's looked upon as like a high risk business, meaning the merchant account could be like, it's taking a risk by working with us because we have no credibility, right? We're a new business, we're coming in, and if we were to start collecting payment from a lot of customers, they don't know if something could happen, and then the merchant account might have to pay the customers back or something like that. So what we have to do is build relationships with merchant accounts to allow our website to collect payment, and then as time passes, they're going to trust us and make, they're going to see that we're just doing a viable business and collecting payment, giving services, and month to month our statements look good. And as time passes, we're going to build up more trust, and they will allow us to basically accept more payments, etc., etc. Okay, now that was a kind of like a mouthful, but I just opened up a little description here. I think Google does a better job at explaining it. A merchant account establishes a business relationship with a merchant provider, like a bank, and establish a business to accept debit and credit cards. Right? It allows you to accept payments online, which is crucial. We don't want people to call us and give us their credit card over the phone. One, that takes a lot of customer data, and it can be dangerous because we have to like handle all this data. And 2, it's cumbersome. It doesn't scale. You can't blow it up. The business won't grow fast because we'll always be on the phone trying to answer stuff. We want to make it where this business, we're not on the phone, right? This is not about doing hundreds of sales calls or taking a lot of calls. This is about just automation and everything being smooth digital. Okay. So having that said, the main task is going to be first opening up an entity connecting with the account, and then we're going to be opening up a bunch of merchant accounts. So I have a long list, right? There's a lot of them that we couldn't get in for. They said, no, it's a new business. We don't work with brand new businesses right now, blah, blah, blah. And those I marked red. But all the white ones are ones that are good, that we have applied, are currently, not applied yet, but they're done. They're like, we verified that they're good and we can like reach out to them. So we'll have this list to reach out. I currently have like 17 merchant accounts under me, and we want to, as a target by the end of the year, it'd be great if we can get like 100 cumulatively between our little group of 2 to 3 people, and that would give us enough merchant account and business relationships spread across, so we're not reliant on just one person who could just like shut us down or something. We're spread across many of them, and it makes the business smoother, and we're able to collect payments from multiple vendors, and the customer also has a smooth experience because it's not getting clogged or anything just from one provider. So having that all said, the last thing I would say is this is basically a pretty, for the most part, it's a pretty recurring model. Meaning in the beginning, we're gonna have to do the setup, get the paperwork, do the filing and stuff like that. It'll take a little bit of work, but it's nothing compared to the amount of the scale we're looking at, where once we make these merchant accounts and they're active, they're pretty much done. And then month to month, we're able to collect recurring payments for having these just live, regardless of the customers are buying our services or not. Just by having these merchant accounts live, you're going to be getting the payments, because that's basically what's needed just to keep the doors open in the business. It's the essential part. So hope this makes sense. And obviously, if you have any questions, then just reach out to me.